named Ryan Nelson. I'll be refuting the speech by Justin Morris. His claim was abortion is harmful to women who make the decision to abort their baby. His secondary claims were abortion encourages women to be weak, abortion does serious psychological harm to the mother of an aborted child, and abortion can produce serious harm to women who choose to undergo this procedure. The first claim was supported by a single quote from a biased source. The quote came from Nancy Jo Mann, the founder of an organization called Women Exploited by Abortion. And as it sounds, it's for women who regret having undergone abortions. I feel like this is insufficient evidence to justify a secondary claim. And his secondary claim is abortion does serious psychological harm to the mother of an aborted child, supported by another quote from the same woman, and a survey of 252 women who have had abortions taken by her organization. According to the Allen Guttmacher Institute, an organization that provides national abortion statistics in the U.S. in 2005, which was the most recent year with which reliable information on the subject was taken. Approximately 1.21 million abortions took place in the U.S. in that year, 2005. That's down from the estimated 1.29 million in 2002 and 1.31 million in 2000. And overall, since 1973 through 2005, more than 45 million illegal abortions have taken place in the U.S. That, dwarfs his survey, basically, since it's only a survey from a biased source of 252 women. Also, in a 2000 study by Brenda Major and colleagues from the University of California, Santa Barbara, it examined women's emotions and mental health after abortions. Major concluded that most women do not experience psychological problems or regret their abortions 2 years post-abortion, but some do. Those who do tend to be women with a prior history of depression. Also, in 2005, a study by Sarah Gemming and Nancy Russo comparing rates of depression following an unwanted first pregnancy carried to term versus an unwanted pregnancy that was aborted. The authors concluded that under present conditions of legal access to abortion, there is no credible evidence that choosing to terminate an unwanted first pregnancy puts women at higher risk of subsequent depression than does choosing to deliver an unwanted first pregnancy. So basically, for a second claim, it's completely disputable. There's no accurate information that you provided that proves that claim. For his third claim, abortion can produce serious harm in women who choose to undergo this procedure. It was supported by a list of potential harms and side effects that can affect women who have undergone an abortion. It was supported by the same survey of 252 women by the same women's organization that he used the quotes from. I've shown how that survey is already biased and it's dwarfed by the number of actual abortions already. And the way that he portrayed the side effects made it seem as though every woman who has an abortion undergoes these side effects, which is not true. According to the CDC in 2003, only 10 women died as a result of complications from known legal induced abortions. Also, in a study from Johns Hopkins University, it reported that occurrences of genital tract infection, one of the side effects that he used, following elective abortions is a well-known complication. This institution reports that 5.2% of first-term, that it only occurs in 5.2% of first-term abortions. This further discredits the survey of the 252 women, which showed that it was happening in 9% of women. So with that, I feel that his arguments have been adequately discredited.
All right, all the secondary claims are laid out pretty clearly. The claim of bias on the source, I think, is a little bit of a stretch simply because the organization has an interest and they have a point of view. I don't know that that necessarily means that they're biased. Putting it into context, I think, is the stronger argument. It's not that the 45 million, and by the way, at one point I think you said illegal abortions, but you meant legal abortions. The 45 million legal abortions that have taken place don't necessarily show that the survey that the women's group is using is invalid. But, for instance, when you've got statistics that are reflected from those 45 million that we can contrast, we can say that we've got more accurate data that reaches a different conclusion. And I think that's the way you want to phrase that argument. I thought you did an okay job trying to diminish the risk of some of these problems. In particular, you had the argument about the trade-off on the general risk that everybody knows about, and I thought that that was pretty clear. On the third point, with all the side effects, you diminished it by pointing out that out of all the abortions that happen, there are a relatively small number of fatalities, and there's a good challenge on the excuse me, this is back on the point above, on the issue of depression, that it's really kind of a moot point because the women who suffer the depression were already predisposed to this as an issue, so it's not so much the abortion that produces it as it is their predisposition. So I thought you had some good counter evidence on those points. The analysis of the advocate's evidence seems a little conclusionary, and I don't think what you are saying discredits the evidence, but it answers the evidence, and I think that's a better way of explaining it. Discrediting it makes it sound like there's something that they did that is inappropriate, misleading, or wrong, and instead what you're saying is, well, the data that they're using is insufficient to reach this conclusion, and we've got better data over here that reaches a different conclusion, and that's the way you want to make that contrast on those points. All right.